a large new hypothesis is coming around about Roman Reigns, and it's a fascinating one that might bring a lot of historical events back into the forefront, startling things off with this fresh wild fan theory for Roman Reigns and a new perspective direction for him. Things are a lot different right now in current day for Roman than has been in former years in recent memory. Roman Reigns was the true centerpiece for storytelling in WWE. He had the championship with him, the bloodline with him, Paul Heyman with him, just so much ingredients and dynamics continually swirling around him that he actually felt like this constant storytelling machine. But in contemporary day, a lot of those elements have been pulled away from him. There is no more title, no more bloodline, no Paul Heyman, no anything truly remaining. Roman addressed the conflicts with the original members of the bloodline back in 2024, but nevertheless, he no longer has much of a storytelling universe surrounding him the same way he did in years past. This is something that Triple H even addressed during the Unreal series. Triple H remarked during one of the meetings that his major fear about removing Paul Heyman away from Roman Reigns is that Roman will have nothing left. But either way, they went through with the split plans there for Roman and Heyman. So where does Roman go from here after SummerSlam? After taking up the tag team victory? Well, a really fascinating hypothesis fans are talking about right now is the idea of recreating Roman and Jey's feud from 2020, but swapping the roles around in current day. Back in 2020, Roman and Jey had one of the most intimate feuds and greatest storylines that we've seen over the last few years. Roman was the brand new Universal Champion at the time, but he had pretty much lost his mind with this obsession of being the tribal chief and guiding the family. So when Jey became #1 challenger and came for Roman's title, Roman was pretty much furious that Jey would even dare contest him for the title and standing in the family. That led to their complete fallout, and Roman doing some really terrible and despicable things to Jimmy and Jey along the way to protect the championship. And after brutally defeating Jey twice, Roman pretty much beat Jey into submission and into becoming pretty much like a lapdog for him, and that pretty much set the tone for the entire run for the bloodline. It was Roman pretty much ruling his family with an iron fist. You couldn't really quietly talk things out with him. He held everyone to a perfect standard, and everything always had to be his way, no questions asked. And the more Roman got insane with power, the more stress that was added onto Jey to deal with and manage. And then you had other things along the way, like the entire incident between Roman and Sami. Jey was incredibly frustrated with that circumstance because he was close with Roman and Sami, so that dispute between them tore him apart. In similar scenario when his own brother Jimmy betrayed him at SummerSlam 2023 to cost him the title against Roman Reigns. The brutality from Roman over the years and the betrayal from Jimmy Uso. It was so much for Jey to deal with that he straight up quit the company for several weeks. In 2023 he despised Roman and the family for what they put him through. And then in 2024, when the original bloodline was first coming back together to take on the new bloodline, Jey initially rejected the offer to reunite with Jimmy and Roman. Jey couldn't picture himself doing it, but after about 10 days, Jey gave in and reunited with the original bloodline. And one of the greatest complaints with that logic at the time was if it was realistic for Jey to fully forgive and forget about 4 years of trauma that he was put through by Roman in only a week and a half. You're talking about 4+ years of terrible trauma inflicted by Roman. And Jey went back on board with Roman after a little over a week. Something about how fast Jey ran back to Roman just didn't set right with some fans. They feel like there just should have been a little more hesitancy there from Jey Uso. Given all the horrible history that does existing there between Roman and himself, the reunion was just too fast and the explanation wasn't truly fleshed out about why Jey wanted to return to the family. So that leads us to current day and the twist. Roman and Jey just finished defeating Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker in their SummerSlam tag team fight. There were also some huge storytelling moments in the match, like when Roman sacrificed himself and took the spear so Jey wouldn't have to get hit by it. That was a huge event that reveals the recent transformation in Roman's character. The Roman from a few years ago is not taking a bullet for anyone. He's not rushing in harm's way for anybody. He'll use you for cover before he offers himself up for you. But now we see that Roman is no longer that same selfish man. He gave himself here for Jey, which contributed to Jey winning the match. But the twist here would be, what if Jey never really forgave Roman Reigns? What if Jey is still covertly and quietly hanging onto that hatred against Roman? Anyone that has experienced any form of tragedy will undoubtedly tell you that it's not simple to let it go and just move on from it, especially after just 10 days. So what if there is something left there inside of Jey's psyche, something that gets triggered, something that grows, and something that finally leads to him betraying Roman Reigns in a horrific method? Just an unexpected nasty beatdown from Jey onto Roman Reigns, where Jey can constantly be ranting and reminding Roman about all the things he put him through over the last few years, probably indicating to Roman right there in that instant that he never really forgot or forgiven him over all of it. This provides a fascinating dynamic of Jey turning heel due of the prior trauma, being in control of his mind and actions. Jey doesn't care that Roman has changed in current day. Jey's mindset is only locked in on retaliation and revenge for 4 years of torment that he was put through entirely at the hands of Roman Reigns. It'll be one of those stories where the heel change is quite deserved, and Jey would be spouting nothing but the truth. Even as a heel, if Jey brings up everything that happened from 2020 to 2024, it's impossible to explain Jey that he's wrong for holding a grudge and feeling that way about Roman considering everything he's been through. Jey would be kind of right to feel that way. Maybe Jey secretly disliked the 2024 and 2025 reunions with Roman, and was waiting for the right time to strike against Roman. This direction and story twist would certainly lead towards a big reconstruction of Jey's character once he betrays Roman Reigns and turns heel. There is no more yeet. There's no more crowd entrances. All it gets wiped away for a more serious version of Jey. And if you were watching during the peak days of the Bloodline, Jey does have a lot of acting range and depth to him. He just hasn't been able to properly get back into those skills under the Yeet character. But a heel version of Jey. A version of Jey that's making Roman pay for all of his transgressions across multiple years. That's a side of Jey that could dip back into his acting depth and more serious side. It actually would be like a remixed and reversed version of their 2020 feud. Roman Reigns is the babyface, and Jey is now the heel, and Jey wouldn't be in a heel that's driven by blatant and useless hatred. He'll be more driven by the horrible experiences and mental anguish he went through over those several years. Jey just tucking all that sorrow away and never facing it is pretty stupid. So if that trauma does eventually rise to the surface and have a huge effect on his attitude and persona, that would be very rational for sure, and it'll be a perfect opportunity to give Roman and Jey something substantial to do in current day that doesn't have anything to do with a world title. And it'll be like an extension or sequel to the original Bloodline tale. Instead of Roman being mad and out of his mind like previously, Jey is now the one who has gone mad and utterly nuts. What are your opinions on this fan theory? Do you want to see Jey Uso eventually face his trauma and look for retribution on Roman Reigns? Or should they stay united? Leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe with all alerts on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys. Following Cody Rhodes' championship triumph over John Cena at WWE SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar startled fans with his return, which included him laying out Cena with an F5. Since then, fans and analysts have asked many questions about the circumstances surrounding his shocking revival, with WWE CCO Paul Triple H Levesque saying that part of it derives from Cena's desire to work with the Beast during his retirement tour. In the eyes of WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray, it may also be counteracting an absence from a big talent. I've been talking about the return of Brock for a long time, Ray added. I did not mention Brock last night. I did not sure how Brock would fit into an equation last night. We had talked about Rock, but here we get the return of Brock Lesnar. I'm presuming, and I don't know this for sure, I'm asking myself, why bring Brock back now? I'm presuming somebody's going to be disappearing for a while. It's not going to be Cody. It's not going to be John. It's not going to be CM Punk. Who else? Heavy hitter wise? I imagine Roman Reigns divides for a little while again, thus bringing back Lesnar. I just think they needed some more strong hitting strength. While it remains uncertain if Lesnar's comeback is truly tied to another WWE star's anticipated absence, Rhodes and Roman Reigns are planned for at least some time off while they film scenes for Street Fighter. The live adaptation movie is planned up for production in Australia, with filming likely beginning in September. WWE management are thought to be optimistic that Rhodes and Reigns' filming responsibilities would not impede ongoing WWE storylines. Rhodes, who will portray Guile, is not scheduled to stay on the Street Fighter set for a lengthy period of time. Reigns' actual filming schedule, on the other hand, remains unknown.